Coach, what makes Jalen Wright so good after contact?
The mindset more than anything else. Jalen always ran the ball with a chip on his shoulder. So when he approaches the game, you can watch him in pregame some. He's very, very intense, and he prepares very intense. And you see the reflection of it on the field, the way he attacks the game, the way he attacks the preparation. When he gets the ball, he's kind of got that mindset, I refuse not to go down. He doesn't want to make the first guy bring him down. He's done a lot better job this year, I feel like, of leg drive. You can see when he goes between the tackles, he's getting his feet up on contact, winning those small spaces. The last couple of years, you will see guys bring him down with just a shoestring tackle, and that no longer really happens.
One of the guys on offense was talking about how going up against your defense, how it's made them so much better, including obviously at the line of scrimmage. At what point did you guys kind of look over at the other side of the ball and say, man, that's a good group that's going to make us better going up against them in practice?
Yeah, I think it all kind of started showing itself a little bit in the spring. When you look at the spring football practice, we always have really good intense. We always, competitive, not combative more than anything else. And you could see the intensity that we were practicing with in the spring. You start to kind of carry over to the fall, and then all of a sudden we get a couple of new bodies, more healthier, more than anything else, really on both sides of the ball. Guys that weren't available in the spring, and we've had some battles out there. And it's like we always say, iron sharpens iron. And now what you see is a reflection. Our run game is probably better just because our defense has gotten so much better, especially that defensive line unit.
Casey, then Patrick.
What is it about Jalen Wright's game that can make him so effective specifically against Alabama this weekend?
Well, I think more than anything, just the diversity that he brings to the table. You can see Jalen has really worked on his pass receiving skills, and you can see now we started to do more things with him as far as throwing the ball out of the backfield. He always could do it. The other guys were a little bit further ahead. So now what that has opened up the window for us to do is now expose all of those guys to a lot of different things. So whether it's Jabari or Jay Wright or even Sampson, like now they all got very similar skill sets, but we feel comfortable moving those guys around into a lot of different positions. But I do think just the approach that he takes to the game, he's a lot more patient as a runner. If he continues to do a good job of being patient, he's going to always have success no matter what defense we line up against.
Coach, you talked about in the season about Jalen, just how much he improved as between the tackles. It seems like he has a good feel for the game. He knows when to maybe have a little patience, have a little hesitation, but also be able to put a foot in the ground and accelerate. How special is that he's developed that kind of feel for knowing when to start, when to stop, and how much is that helping him be productive as he is? Yeah,
you wish all your guys would make sure they're students of the game. And Jalen has done a really good job in the offseason and in season studying game. We tease a lot of these guys. A lot of times they don't watch football, so a lot of times they can't tell you even some of the past greats that played the game because they didn't grow up watching the game as much as my generation did more than anything else. But now what you see is here's a guy. He's got a throwback feel to him. He can tell you about guys like Walter Payton or TD or anybody like that. So it's just a mindset of hey, look, I want to study the greats. I want to study past greats. I want to study current greats. I want to study just the game of football to see what those guys saw. Now that doesn't mean it's necessarily the scheme that we do, but from a standpoint of just those small things, using the stiff arm, you can see him using that off arm as a weapon now. You can see him, like I said, get his feet up on contact. He's got that little leg kick like Peyton used to have sometimes when he's trying to be patient going between the tackles on the perimeter. So it's just all those little things that have allowed him to really be special as far as understanding where the free hitters are. We talk a lot about, because of our splits and how we play, about where those free and those bodies are going to come from, whether it's safety position, whether it's that nickel position. And sometimes, when we're reading those guys, just kind of how to attack the leverage. I think his study of the game has really improved. And now what you've seen is he's taken that and he's applied it to Saturdays.
Rob, then Austin.
Coach, you probably have as good of a vantage point to judge as anybody. What's the return of Cooper meant to the run game for your guys? What have you seen?
Man, it's been tremendous. The first couple of games, we were out there playing and we had some success. We were doing some good things. But when Coop came back, you could just see the communication level just increase. I think the confidence that he brings to the table, he makes players around him better as well because he's such a smart player. He can understand where to take the points, where to take the IDs, and then he exudes confidence in the entire offense because of what he does. And now you can see us getting to the second level, whereas, at the beginning of the season, we might be on half a man. Coop covers up the entire body. So now he's been able to create lanes for us, and it exudes confidence in not only the running backs, but also the offensive line.
As Jalen has ascended, Jabari's carries that went down a little bit. He went over 2,000 yards for his career Saturday. Just kind of talk about just his overarching career, kind of how he's been this year, kind of in a different role?
Well, I just think, as you grow as a program, as you grow as a person, period, things start to evolve, things start to change. And Jabari's taking this deal all the stride because he always was a team first guy. He always had a mindset of I want what's best for the team. He understands his role more this year. It's a little bit different than it was the first 2 years. And he's done a really good job of playing that role. He's ready whenever we have an opportunity to call his number. Sometimes he's going to have to be called upon to finish games this year. They all need one another. Jalen, the way we play with Sam and Jabari, the manner in which we play, it's really tough to get those guys 40 and 50 snaps in the game. So some days Jabari may end up having more snaps or he may not. But just the approach that he's taking to the game this year especially, he understands the role. His role is different. Our offense is different than it was in the past. And he's really just been a complete team player. And just a compliment to him over his career, the first couple of years, he's thrust in that position where he lost 2 guys. When we came in the door, he had to be the guy. And then last year had to be the guy and then continue to fight through injury. He's got a warrior mentality.
Vince?
Being on the staff with Joey Halsley now as the OC, working with him, what are some things that you see in terms of attributes that he's brought to that position, including in games to help the team get better?
Just the experience. Joey's been in this offense probably just as longer than anybody in that room, and he's seen so much. The diversity that he brings to the table, all his different stops and all the different structures that he's seen. Like, he can make those halftime adjustments like nothing because he can refer back to something he might have saw 2 or 3 years ago, and then now we can make that adjustment. And him and Coach Ellaby have worked together for so long. Coach Ellaby the same way. He's kind of been on the grassroots of this offense as well. So, when they get in there and they start talking about things that might have happened 7 or 8 years ago, we have to, me and Kelsey had to go back to the film 7 or 8 years ago and try to pull it up and see exactly what's going on. But just the experience in the offense and the scheme and what we do, he has great ideas. He's a student of the game. In the offseason, we try to build basically a library of NFL things or steal from other college programs across the country about what they do well. And he's kind of one of those guys that's always in the film room, always studying to try to find different ways to put us in great positions.
Last 2, Paige and Ryan.
Jalen Wright seems to play quite mean. It takes several guys to bring him down. How does his toughness elevate the room?
It builds a lot of confidence in the entire room and the entire team. There was one specific situation last game where he tried to hurdle the guy, and you can see just that energy that he brought to the table. It ignited the entire offense. The young man ended up getting injured. I think he ended up maybe coming back, but for the most part, it was a situation where that right there, you can see our entire intensity, the way we played, the manner in which we played when we touched the ball, all of a sudden changed. It's those kind of plays. It doesn't mean it has to always be a 50-yard touchdown. It could just be a guy going pad +2. It could be a guy pushing the pile like you see sometimes, and that creates an energy amongst the team and the fan base a lot of times when you see those kind of plays.
Jerry, you talked a little bit last week about just the potential you see in Cam Seldon. What's kind of the next step in his development? You talked about earlier this year kind of where he was in learning the game. How far has he come there, and what does he still have to do in that area?
Man, he's in a really good place right now. I really think that if Cam had to be thrust in that position to go out there and play and give us quality reps, he could. He's a guy that stays in the film room. He's an early bird. So Cam is a guy, we practice in the morning. He's basically the first one in the building all the time. I don't know how much the guy really sleeps, but he does a really good job of being on time. He's never missed anything. But just from the development and growth standpoint, like all the young guys, the protection piece is going to be critical for him to continue to develop and grow. He's not, there by any stretch of the imagination. Obviously, he has the rest of the season to go, and then also, too, doing the spring ball. He has to continue to grow in that aspect, learning how to run between the tackles, being a violent runner in between the tackles, and being able to feel the bodies when they cross his face, feel when he can go ahead and take the space that he has. Those kind of things right there, he's still learning and still growing in that. But I do think, as he continues to get more reps in practice, he's in the rotation right now. He's like the 4th back, so to speak. So, one of those guys get a hangnail like Cam Seldon's the next guy.
Thank you, Coach.
Paul Haddon and his development this year, when did you see that coming, and what can you tell us about the process?
Well, everybody has a developmental, progress. I guess, everybody will develop in certain stages in their lives quicker, or obviously it's going to take a little bit of time. And obviously we know somebody that had a talent, who was talented, was athletic. We knew that he had the skills. just working, preparing. This is his third year. He actually, because of the injuries, this was his first time he ever went through spring ball and developing, and obviously he took it through the summer and the fall camp, and obviously now he's putting it to work in the games on a more consistent basis.
Just watching the film this week, how have you seen Jalen Milroe improve over the course of the season?
He's always, obviously we thought he was a hell of a football player last year. When we were preparing for the game, obviously we thought he was going to be the starter. He was playing well. He's matured, obviously a year later. He's got a great arm, strong arm that can make every throw. He's obviously a dual threat, in a quarterback run game, or if these pocket collapse, he'll scramble and he'll scramble to run, but at times too he'll scramble also to throw the ball down the field. He does. He's really just feels a lot more comfortable, a lot more confidence. You can see it in some of the throws he makes, and obviously he's making some really great decisions too when not to throw it. That's what we're seeing more of.
Adam and then Casey.
Coach, it looks like Milroe's numbers are really good under pressure. A lot of deep balls he's completed right before he gets hit. Is it, number one, is that what you see from him? And number two, how does that affect your secondary that he will hang in the pocket?
Well, again, for the back end, whenever you're playing coverage, is to put your eyes where they belong and stay in coverage. Someone that's a dual threat like him, is not to worry about when he starts to scrambling. Just make sure you stay with stay in coverage, and that's the most important thing that we can do with a guy like Milroe, because he will make you pay, or he's going to scramble out there. And yeah, he's gone a lot of the times, but also at times too, he'll throw the ball down the field. And he's been very successful at doing that. Guys are leaving their man or getting out of coverage, and that's where he's really done a lot of damage. So again, we're going to have to be really good. The entire defense, right? If the pocket collapses, man, we got to do a good job of being disciplined, staying in our rush lanes, and being in position to flush him east and west, as opposed to letting him get down north and south, and obviously stay in the coverage.
Casey in the back.
Back here. On Saturday, I believe it was Tyler Barron and Gabe Judy Labby that were very stern on just the work ethic that Kamal has had, and that it hasn't wavered, and he's just been grinding head to head down, keeps grinding. What have you seen in terms of that with him throughout the last few years?
You talking about Kamal?
Yeah, Kamal.
Yeah. Again, he's really we have a great culture here. I'm gonna give the credit to Coach Hype, starting with Coach Hype. When we first got here, and to the time that we are right now, we've got a great group of men and staff that we feel that just put their arms around each and every kid, and not to signal out just one guy. And I think it's been the whole entire organization, put their arms around each other and have helped each other, and you need that no matter what, whoever that might be. And Kamal, like everybody else, has bought in, and you can see that he's obviously gotten better each and every year, each and every day. He in every phase of his life, you see that. He graduated. He's already a graduate, and that was important for him and his family, and that was the number one goal of his. And it was great to see that build some confidence, and it would build anybody's confidence. And he sees the results. He's put a lot of work into it, and like a lot of us, if you put the work into it, man, and you stay focused and just trying to win each day, just win each day, and he's done that, and move on to the next day. It's the most important thing is the next rep. It's the next thing you do, and even though it might not have been perfect, it might have not been really good, reset, and he's done that on a consistent basis, and obviously he's seeing the results from that.
Vince and then Brent.
Coach Denico started early in the year, then missed some time, and now has played a little bit in the last couple of games. Is he still getting ramped up to be 100% available, or have those guys just played so well that?
No, we went into trying to play forward. We wanted to play at least 4 to 5 guys at the corner position, at least 4, and we're still in that mindset. But again, as the games go, it just the hot man stays in, so to speak. But we're going to continue to play as many guys as we can. You got to be able to do that in this day and age, man, with all the offenses and how talented they are and all the tempos, and that's been good for us because we've been able not only give the reps to these guys that they deserve, but it's also kept us fresh in the fourth quarter. And, you know, it's just like our D-line, you know, and I've kind of learned from that, you know, the D-line, a lot of D-linemen coaches rotate their guys, you know what I mean? Because they can't go, obviously it's a line of scrimmage game, I know that, you know, but in looking at, it's also brought some really great results. So that it's done it for us too. We've been able to get guys in there when we needed to. We weren't able to do that the last 2 years, and it's been very beneficial for us being able to do that. So he'll play a lot, yeah.
But
The goal is.
because of that depth, how much has that helped development of your entire group, including the young freshmen that were talked about when they came in here? How much has that competition on the practice field and playing more people help develop your group overall?
It's the last great motivator, right? I mean, it's when they see each other push each other, you know what I mean? They're talented and they know that they got to step it up each and every day. And we try and make it a competition every day. I mean, we just had it out there today. Tuesdays and Wednesdays are work days, you know, and we call it Tough Tuesday for a reason, you know. And only your best is good enough, you know what I mean? So it's actually, you might have had a great day yesterday, man. It's a new day, and I think the mindset, that's the kind of mindset that everybody has, you know what I mean? And to have the competition has only made the guys better, and it's obviously helped the young guys. They're doing really well on special teams and fighting for reps on defense.
Do two more page and we'll finish with Brian.
To Marion McDonald, his effort doesn't always show up on the stat sheet, but what impact are you expecting him to make against Alabama?
The same impact he's making each and every day. I mean, T-Mac is our guy. I mean, the back end. He's got to set the defense. He's got to make the checks. He's got to be a very productive player when he's playing against the slots, from a run game and from a passing game. You know what I mean? And he's done a tremendous job. So the same thing that he's been doing, just better. You know what I mean? I would say that to every single one of the guys, and he would say the same thing to you.
Brian?
Really, I guess last year we were asking so many questions throughout the season of what you guys need to do to improve. Now the passing game numbers are a lot better. How much better are you guys covering, you think, compared to last year overall, and how much of that is just the team overall playing well?
And again, I know it's a last line of defense, and we've got to be really good, obviously. But it's really the credit to the entire defense. I mean, it takes 11 guys to play really great defense. Coach Banks does a great job in leading the defense, and we just got more depth. We've got younger guys that have come in here and they're contributing and pushing the envelope, so to speak, as far as pushing each other to be better. You know what I mean? We're healthier in the back end. We weren't last year, you know, and that's you can't get better unless you get reps. I mean, it doesn't matter how good you are. And we've been very fortunate, you know what I mean, to be relatively healthy. I know we've lost, you know, Christian, Charles, and some other guys have been bumped up, you know, here and there. But for the most part, we've been healthy, you know, and that's helped us be able to practice every day, push each other to be better, you know what I mean? And you can see the confidence.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.